Live from our Coronation Park studios in Babane, it is just gone 10 o'clock Central Africa time. Good evening and welcome to the news at 10, brought by Eswatini television. I'm Sadapo Ngoan alongside Stella Gunene. Thanks so much for choosing to stay with us and making us your news channel of choice. We begin here first, the headlines tonight. His Excellency, the Prime Minister, says the Nkwe mandate is a call to end hunger and poverty in the Kingdom of Eswatini within the shortest possible time. And the Minister of Information Communication Technology says the Higher Education Council is redesigning courses for the Royal Science and Technology Park's Advanced School of Information Technology. And an amount estimated at 50,000 in Malangeni was found stuffed inside Kentucky Fried Chicken KFC meat carton during the arrest of the suspects in the case of bombing ATM machines in Babane. Good evening. The news in detail will begin here. First, our first story. His Excellency, the Prime Minister, Russell Dlamini, says the Nkwe mandate is a call to end hunger and poverty in the Kingdom of Eswatini within the shortest time possible. The Premier said this when opening the second National Agriculture Investment in Indaba, where he also called for investors to explore opportunities in the agriculture sector. The meeting is being held at the Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini, where potential investors from beyond the country's borders are also in attendance. His Excellency, the Prime Minister, Russell Dlamini, says the Nkwe mandate is a call to end hunger and poverty in the Kingdom of Eswatini within the shortest time possible. The Premier said this when opening the second National Agriculture Investment in Indaba, where he also called for investors to explore opportunities in the agriculture sector. The meeting is being held at Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini, where potential investors from beyond the country's borders are also in attendance.
His Excellency, the Prime Minister Russell Dlamini, officiated in the two-day meeting which aims to attract foreign investors to Eswatini, in particular in the agricultural sector. This will play a crucial role in ensuring that Eswatini attains food sovereignty, as it currently imports 70% of the food it consumes.
As a country, we are blessed to have a visionary leader in His Majesty King Mswati III, who commissioned us on the Nkwe mandate towards the end of 2023 and has declared the year 2025 as a year of transformation. The Nkwe mandate is a call to end hunger and poverty in the kingdom within the shortest time possible. The Eswatini National Agricultural Investment Plan embraces values and principles of global initiatives such as the African Union's Agenda 2063, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 2, and the Food and Agriculture Organizations for Betters.
Hoho Regional Administrator Princess Tsanzile said this meeting will yield positive fruits for Eswatini.
Agriculture has been the bedrock of our nation's economy. Today, with over 70% of our rural community relying on its success, we reaffirm its power to uplift lives and eradicate poverty. Your Excellency, your steadfast advocacy for food sovereignty continues to inspire us. Together with all industry leaders, we shall answer this call to secure a nourished and resilient future of Eswatini.
Food and Agriculture Organization Sub-Regional Coordinator for Southern Africa, Dr. Patrice Tala, said Eswatini has achieved important milestones in food-related issues.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is leading in this respect, and as FAO, we are already using the Eswatini Agriculture Development Fund as an example that can be replicated in other countries. FAO pledges to continue providing technical assistance to EADF, especially to broaden the financial instrument it is deploying.
As this meeting aims to attract investors, government has invited them from different walks of life so they can have first-hand knowledge of local opportunities to maximize on. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Ezulwini.
The House of Assembly has adopted the responses for the motion on addressing the health challenges facing the Kingdom of Eswatini. The House adopted these responses with amendments which include the exclusion of NTMA and nature from emergency procurement entities for drugs in the country. The Premier accepted these amendments.
Last month, His Excellency the Prime Minister Russell Dlamini reported to Parliament what government was doing to address health challenges facing the Kingdom of Eswatini. The Premier said they are working on making the central medical stores a parastatal. They are also considering using NTMA and nature as entities through which government buys medical drugs and supplies. Members of Parliament asked for clarification before adopting the response.
Nangabe simniketa namhla umhlonishwa ndunankulu umcondzisi ukuthi akaqhubeke ayosebenzisa lo ngabe asiphikisi insini singumla labashaya umthetho ukuthi ngala sisebenza lo mthetho ukuthi nayi transformation ayendeke ya central medical stores, but at the same time sithi ngala sesiyamniketa imandla ndunankulu ukuthi akahambe asebenzisa bo disaster na nature.
But there are two options. You either adopt or reject. Remember, the Senate will expand now. If you think this will be low corner, we are 7
The Premier weighed in on the matter.
Adoption with the amendments. I think we are comfortable with that. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
The House also debated a motion moved by Mojane Member of Parliament Honorable Wilton Gambule and seconded by Mayiwane MP Sicelo Dlamini. The motion called for the Premier's office to operationalize Section 3, Subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Kingdom of Eswatini, which calls for all legislation brought before Parliament to be presented in both English and Siswati languages. The MPs say this is important as it would ensure that all Emaswati have access and knowledge of the law. Another motion directed to the Premier's office was one raised by Somtongo Member of Parliament Honorable Sandile Ngumalo and seconded by Ntlambeni MP Honorable Manzizwane. This motion sought to move that the Premier declare non-communicable diseases a disaster in Eswatini. The Prime Minister's office, which was represented by the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Thuli Dladla, accepted both motions. The Premier's office was given 14 days to table a report on the two motions. Reporting is Temgosi Mavimbela with Temba Shabangu and Samgelsiwe Koza. Parliament.
And to this now, the Honourable Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Savannah Mazia, says with assistance from the Eswatini Higher Education Council, ESHEC is redesigning courses for Royal Science and Technology Park's Advanced School of Information Technology. The Honourable Minister was speaking in Parliament on Wednesday.
The Honourable Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Savannah Mazia, gave responses before the Honourable House of Assembly on a question asked by Mbabane East Member of Parliament, Welcome Dlamini, on why the RSTP Advanced School of IT is closed.
We do recognise that we've behaved badly and we'd like to apologise to the House and to the students, but we want to be able to ensure we are able to get everybody accredited, or maybe they can add a few courses to be accredited, but we're working on that. As I speak to you, Speaker.
The House debated the matter.
Indvuna ngeke ngisekhanze kuhlela ukuthi vele sivalo lesikolo leso abantwana bahambe baye noma elimkokwini.
Nakusayinwa le nawo le MOU nalo uptake. Why was no background check on these people? Why is this going to be sisibona sinedinga yakhanze sesenda le background check only to find ukuthi vela basi accredited khona le India.
The Honourable Minister responded to the questions of the House.
Is how do we recoup the money that was paid from the Indian company? Honourable Speaker, I think the House knows that there's an investigation that's happening currently in RSTP, and this is part of the issues that are going to be in that investigation and the recommendations. of how that money can be recouped. In fact, I can say to the House without fear of contradiction that even the AG's office did not have this contract. So that is why it's a bit of a strange story. So you're right. You're right. It should have been investigated. We should have known before we're sending monies to this institution.
The Honourable Minister of ICT further assured the Honourable House that the ministry is on tours, improving and closing gaps on the ICT sector. Reporting Samgalsiwe Koza, Themba Shabangu and Emmanuel Dlamini, Parliament.
The House of Assembly has issued a directive to the Ministry of Public Service to report on the welfare of contract teachers. The Honourable Minister of Public Service, Mabulala Masego, welcomed the motion.
Mayiwane Member of Parliament Sicelo Dlamini, seconded by Mbabane East Member of Parliament Welcome Dlamini, moved that the Honourable Minister for Public Service explained to the August House what informed the decision to place qualified contract teachers on B2, whereas they should be placed on C3.
Bothishela bayasifuma speaker sibahlonishwa song 69 bathi bahlonishwa sidonsa amatima ekuphileni kwethu hulumende usiqashile siqualified uyasiholela hulumende mane akasiholeli ngesitifiketi sethu usiholela ngaform 5
nomsebenzi wabo hayi ukuthi uyancipha honorable speaker la kuthiwa phela ukulo B2 instead umsebenzi wabo uthile uyangeteka every day kube kuthiwa lo msebenzi nalokulo B2 ko uyehla ngabe sithi hayi cha abachubeke baholele imali leyo but nalo umsebenzi uyachubeka uyenyuka.
The Honourable Minister welcomed the motion.
Ukuthi umsebenzi vele siyawuthanda speaker kepha nje sengaba kucela lokho ukuthi bamane basinike 21 days sitwenda lama consultations because lenzaba njengosenshito imgcoba ithinta impilo tebantu around 16,000 teachers labakhona ever yebo lomnye contract lomnye kumbe permanently employed but nje collectively bese kwathinta bonke speaker sengisho ukuthi sicela kwenda nesizotha 21 days.
The House of Assembly, through the Speaker of the House, Jabulani Mabuza, adopted the Minister's motion. Reporting Samgalsiwe Koza, Themba Shabangu and Emmanuel Dlamini, Parliament.
Now, an amount of estimated 50,000 Malangeni was found stuffed inside a Kentucky Fried Chicken as KFC meat carton during the arrest of suspects in the case of bombing automated teller machines, that's ATMs, in Mbabane City. Now, this was revealed by the investigator in the case, Akona Lulu, who told the court that South Africa has an interest in the firearm that was found in possession of the suspects.
The Mbabane City ATM bombing case dating back to 2022 continues before senior magistrates Fiso Vilakato on Wednesday morning. The accusers Celo Msibi, Kiven Mavuso and Mzwandile Lukele, all from Jakarta, South Africa, alongside with Lindani Zita, an Eswatini Television Authority employee, did investigate Akona Dlu to testifies that 50,000 Malangeni was found hidden in a Kentucky Fried Chicken KFC meat boxes during the arrest. He says police told the suspect to eat the chicken before seizing the man as evidence. He adds that the next day the suspects complained that someone had eaten their food. Lul further says that the suspects led police to a Matapa garage where they bought a motor vehicle, Nissan. He says garage manager Mohammed handed over 26,800 Malangeni, the purchase price, and the vehicle was seized as crime proceeds. He continues to add that they also pointed out a Toyota Ranex in Msunduza. Inspector Lulu says police found a 9mm pistol with serial FHZ 564 wanted by South African police. Lulu also adds that the Ranex was allegedly used to transport the suspects from South Africa and to scout ATMs in Mbabane. Inside the boot, Lulu says police found 21,750 Malangan undamaged and 12,320 Malangan damaged cash, plus some 2 damaged to count. Lulu also adds that at another Msunduza house, police found a Hisense phone box with 17,600 Malangeni. Footage from Standard Bank and Nedbank ATMs showed suspects using crowbars to access cash compartment and plant explosives. One suspect wore an African National Congress jacket, clothing with 9,949 Malangeni, bought a Studio 88 in Zululand was also seized. The trial resumes on Monday. With an inspection of the Nissan and Ranex, Zita is represented by his lawyer Sbusiso Mabuza, reporting Fortune Dlanga Mandla, Mbabane Magistrate Court.
The Minister of Agriculture is ramping up export-focused production to attract investors. Agriculture Minister, the Honourable Mandla Chauka, says Eswatini must first secure food sovereignty, then scale up the meat demand in ready-to-global markets. He was speaking at Agriculture Business and Investment Forum held at Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini.
The first thing that we need to do is to make sure that we are able to produce, because you can never export something you don't have. So we need to be able to scale up our production capacity so that we are able to produce, to be able to fulfill the local market first. That is why we always speak about being or achieving food sovereignty so that we are able to feed ourselves and be able to provide enough food for the nation.
Ozel, who is a potential investor, says there is a lot of potential areas of investment in Eswatini.
There are a lot of opportunities for the foreign investors, a lot of tax deductions, incentives, leasing options. The government is literally trying everything to bring foreign investor.
United Nations Resident Coordinator George Wachira has reaffirmed the UN's commitment to supporting the country in its pursuit of food sovereignty and export-led growth.
Every country is struggling in the developing world to meet its development objectives. But if you are landlocked, the climb is that much steeper. And so one solution is increased thinking regionally, integrating regionally, creating possibilities, trade corridors, infrastructure that cut across countries in order for us to make progress. And the Africa Free Continental Trade area is one incentive in this direction that encourages us.
It is envisaged that there will be 225 participants drawn from various domestic and international financial institutions, private sector players and development institutions, and farmers on the Agriculture Business and Investment Forum. The forum is meant to boost food security and trade. Reporting, Nelson Dlangamandla, Fuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
Private sector credit took a slight dip of 0.05% month-on-month in June, but maintained a strong yearly growth, surging by 6.5% to reach 21.6 billion eMalangeni. This is according to the Central Bank of Eswatini's latest monthly statistical release for June-July, published on Tuesday. The figures signal resilient demand for credit in the economy despite short-term fluctuations, reflecting underlying confidence in the private sector.
The Central Bank of Eswatini states that the slight month-on-month contraction was on account of reduced credit to other sectors of domestic economy and businesses. Meanwhile, credit to households and non-profit institutions serving households registered an increase over the month of June this year. Credit extended to businesses amounted to 11.7 billion eMalangeni at the end of June, lower by 2.2% month-on-month and higher by 12.7% year-on-year. A breakdown by business size indicated that credit to both large enterprises and small-medium enterprises declined during the month under review. As a result, credit to large enterprises and small and medium enterprises fell by 3.1% to 8 billion eMalangeni and 0.3% to 3.7 billion eMalangeni, respectively. Despite the declines, large enterprises continued to dominate, accounting for 68.4% of total business credit, while credit to small and medium enterprises accounted for the remaining 31.6%. Credit extended to households and non-profit institutions serving households edged up by 3.3% month-on-month and 1.1% year-on-year to close at 8.9 billion eMalangeni at the end of June this year. At the end of June this year, the liquidity position of banks declined by 2.1% month-on-month, but increased by 7.3% year-on-year. The month-on-month reduction was attributed to a fall in banks' balances held with the central bank, investment in government securities, and eMalangeni held by the banks. Despite the decline in absolute liquidity, the liquidity ratio remained unchanged at 30.9% in June this year, the same level recorded in May this year. Provisional gross official reserves stood at 11.9 billion emalangeni at the end of July this year, reflecting a significant growth of 45.1% month-on-month and 12% year-on-year. The notable increase in reserves was mainly attributed to the quarterly inflow of Southern African Customs Union revenue at the beginning of July. At this level, the reserves were sufficient to cover 2.9 months of imports of goods and services, an improvement from 2 months of import cover recorded in June this year. Reporting, Nelson Langamandla, Mbabane.
Now, about 1,000 Eswatini who once worked in South African mines and conducted tuberculosis and silicosis are expected to share 30 million emalangeni for some former mine workers who were found submitting their banking details at the regional administrator's offices in Manzini, saying they have big plans for the money they are about to receive and they've long waited for.
The Eswatini Migrant Mine Workers Association Secretary General Vamajele says everyone who once worked in the mines will benefit from this fund, regardless of which mine they were employed in.
We have received almost 1,000 claimants who are supposed to be compensated, and a long time has been diagnosed with TB and silicosis. So we expect that 1,000 to be paid 30 million Malangi. And this program will run until maybe the end of the year or until we complete the 1,000 claimants. But we will further extend to cover even those that has not been on the list, because there are a high number of those who have been diagnosed with TB and silicosis during the phase of the Tiamiso Trust. So we will run with this program until everyone is paid.
Former mine workers who have submitted their banking details speak about their plans for the money.
12 years.
Some say they will start businesses, while others mention that they will use the money to provide for their families. Other ex-miners say they will use the funds to maintain their livestock. The association says although there are current challenges in assisting beneficiaries when a former miner has died due to past cases of fraudulent use of letters of authority to claim money, it is working with the Master's Office to find a solution. The association expects that by the end of this month, a solution will have been reached as beneficiaries of deceased miner are still entitled to money if the miner died from tuberculosis or silicosis. Reporting Fortune Dlangamandla with Leleti Mhlanga Manzini.
Now, sports news. The Mbabane Swallows Football Club has issued a statement to clarify matters relating to the ownership of the club. In the statement, the club explains that Mbabane Swallows is not owned by the Kametse family and has never been owned by the Kametse family. What happened, however, is that the club's former chairman formed a company known as Mbabane Swallows Pty Ltd, which was meant to fund Mbabane Swallows Football Club. The statement further reveals that while the late Victor Kametse was the chairman of the club, the team has always been run by its supporters, as stipulated in the club's constitution. In the statement signed by President Absalom Ngwenya, it is stated that they have made several attempts to request a meeting with those in charge of Mbabane Swallows Pty Ltd. However, these efforts have been unsuccessful as the company's representatives have refused to meet with them. However, Mbabane Dlamini, who's the chairperson of the Mbabane Swallows Pty Ltd Management Committee, told our reporters in a telephone interview that those in charge of Mbabane Swallows FC have never requested a meeting with them. He added that they had informed the supporters that they will be taking over the club, a process which was supposed to take place just after the last season ended. Dlamini also mentioned that they had informed the Prime Minister of Eswatini about their intention to take over the club. club. The statement also notes that the meeting called by the club supporters was not legal, as the last constitutionally recognized supporters meeting was held in the year 2012, following the mismanagement of the club's affairs in the year 2008. The statement concluded by indicating that the club's future is being reviewed by the relevant stakeholders and that a further update will be issued in due course. Right, and then with that, we hit the home stretch of the news at 10 at Eswatini TV. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. Up next, we cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it is good night and God bless.